So, for those of you that haven't watched my episodes before, this is my 1977 second Chevelle. This is a Jerry Haas tube chassis car that's been built on over the years. The car was built in, I think, 1989. So it's a pretty old chassis. It's made from chrome moly. And you can see some of the remnants of the old car in the chassis, but a ton of people has strengthened it up to take some serious power. So there's a lot of tubes that maybe shouldn't be there. But the first goal for me is to take it out, test it on the track, and then maybe cut out a tube or two out of the car. I mentioned this in past episodes. This was a big block car, and now, as you can see, it's not a big block, it's an LS engine in the car. But that left a gap over here, a gap for me to fill with something. So the plan here, I think, is to fabricate a plate that references here, just so I can get some triangulation in here. Put a hole here, here, and here. Put long bolts with spacer tubes in between, and then weld a plate all between those spacer tubes. Okay, so what I think I will do here is just take the existing mounting plate and transfer all of the information here over. This was a old line, so that's and then hopefully I can get the other piece out of this part of aluminum. This was a piece that I had, so hopefully everything works. That's not my line, so I'll just chop this up and I'll get back to you really soon. So I roughly cut this out. And now I think what's left is just to transfer the shape of the mid plate or front plate to this aluminum. Just giving it a really rough perfect. So, off to the bandsaw. So, the pieces are cut, and now I think the only thing more to do is to transfer the holes from the chassis, drill the holes out, transfer the holes to these plates, drill those out, and then decide where I can put my third hole for the triangulation. So the mid plate is going to align with the engine here, and here is my front spacer plate. Then I'm going to have some tubes sticking out, 3 tubes in between those plates, with long bolts clamping everything together. And of course I'll weld these together just to get the strength in all directions, thereby the triangulation. So next thing is to mark the position of the third screw, probably around here maybe, but to easier assess where to put that hole, I think I'm just going to transfer the shape here to the plate, and then I can go to the bench and finish everything off. Just taking in note of the contour on both sides from this mount here. And I think I will put my third hole, I want it as far out as possible, but as close to down here maybe. Somewhere around there I think will be great. Yeah, let's go back to the table. So before marking that location on this plate, I think the easiest approach is to drill this hole, lay these sandwiched on top like this, and just transfer the hole to this plate like that. So let's get to drilling. Line everything up, mark the hole. Now I have my 2 holes. So let's make something pretty out of this. First off, just take a ruler. I want these brackets to be sturdy but not heavy. Maybe somewhere around there would be good. I want this part to be able and lay on top of the chassis. So I'll try and leave a good bit here. Maybe take that line. Go from here. Something like this. And then just mark some radiuses. Tooltip, a radius gauge. This one I 3D printed. Great for these type of applications. Just line everything up. Take a radius that you like. That one looks pretty good. And then just connect the dots. Here, maybe a tighter radius. Something like this. Down here, a small radius, just going to the edge here. If you can see, I think we have our outline done here. And I'll do the same here. I'll just take the bandsaw, saw everything out, and then I'll transfer it to the other side. So the mounts turned out great. Next step is to create the spacers. So I'm going to bolt everything up in the car and then measure the length between this plate and this plate. So now I'm just installing everything back here. Okay, so we are back at the car. Everything looks great, everything bolted up just nice. I think I'm going to cut off these radiuses, make these brackets shorter. It seems to be maybe a little bit excessive, and also they are standing up higher than the engine plate. So I'm trying to match everything so everything looks as neat as possible. This is unnecessary weight. So I'm firstly going to mark these ears, and just to get the reference for later, see if they are the same on each side. Hopefully it looks good. And the other thing I'm going to do is to measure the distance from the mid plate to the brackets here. One of these are longer than the others, so this one will be 70 millimeters and the other ones will be 66 millimeters maybe. And on the other side everything should be the same. We have 70 millimeters. You check down here, 70, and then 66 millimeters. So let's get to the lathe and start cutting the spacers. So the spacers are made, and I think everything looks real good. Off camera I took some, I don't know the length, I think it's 125 millimeters bolts, and tightened everything. I released the jacks, put the angle gauge on the motor, and nothing did happen. I also tried to raise the motor with the jack from underneath, and the entire car lifted off the ground. So I think everything's really sturdy. I still have to put the last spacers in. I need to buy 2 more bolts. But I think this engine install is done. It looks really good. Everything's nice and smooth from sanding. Yeah.